Welcome to Patrick's Scale Studio. My name's Patrick. I'll be your host. As you can see, I've got quite a bit on my workbench here after I got home from being out of town for about a week, and we'll probably get all of this cleared up so we can work on our USS Fletcher DD-445 by Trumpeter in 200 scale. We have the rigging to go, and then the final railings to go around the perimeter on the main deck of the ship. So let me go ahead and get some stuff cleaned up, and we'll move on. Okay, well, I got all that mess cleaned up, and so this video is going to be mainly focused, well, all completely focused on rigging the ship, rigging the parts, and then putting the railings on the main deck of USS Fletcher. And Trumpeter's instructions don't really have any kind of rigging detail at all. So I fell back to online photos, and I fell back to instructions for the Revell 144th USS Fletcher kit, and it does have rigging details in there. So I will flash a picture up here. So what you can see here, mainly what I'm concerned with is on this forward funnel here, you can kind of see a little, like a peg or some kind of a rod sticking out of the sides of this that the rigging attaches to. And with that, I'm going to be, I needed to find a way to put that into the forward funnel here. So I'll get the forward funnel, and we can see there is absolutely no rod sticking out there like it shows on the instructions for the Revell kit. But what I did figure out is I could take some piano wire or guitar string, and it's pretty decently, what's the word I want to say, it doesn't bend very easily. It's pretty stiff. And it's also very nice and thin, and it already has a very nice dark gray color. So I don't know if you can see that, but very thin. And what I figured out is if I take a tiny little bit of UV resin and I put it down on some wax paper, then I can kind of get this little disc at the very end here after I cure the UV resin. Then even there it is, right there. And I will drill into both sides of the funnel, poke this through, and then do the same thing here. All I did was I just put a little dab of the UV resin down there, put this down at a right angle, this little piece of guitar string, and then cured it, and it peeled right up off of the wax paper, and that's what I was left with. So I could paint that after I get this through and put into place. Again, just focus was way out there. So I'm going to go ahead and get on with that. Let me go ahead and get the drill and get everything set up. Now, the placement of this rod to support that rigging goes right underneath this ledge here on the funnel cap, and it's pretty much up to the front of the funnel. So I'm thinking right about here, and mainly this is just going to be a kind of an eyeball event, but I'm going to go ahead, and I think I've got it, this is a 4mm. Go ahead and put that in. And just using some hand pressure here on this drill is enough to get that to go through. So let's see if that hole's big enough now. And it is perfect. Oh. There I go, speaking, saying it's perfect, but it's something we can actually I can use to put a little pressure on that, and no, oh, there it is. Okay. So now that that's in, the nice thing about it is because it's beneath that cap, we're not even really going to be able to see it. And then I can come over here, try to get this straight, and kind of get a good idea of exactly where that's supposed to go in there. So mainly this is just going to be eyeballed, but it looks like it's going to be right right about there. So I'm going to go ahead and make a mark. Now I can take this out. I always hate doing this kind of business after the fact, just because it's got all that photo etch on there, so it's pretty delicate. Alright, so I got that to go through both sides. It looks fairly perpendicular to the fore and aft direction of the funnel. So the next thing I want to do is I want to recreate this little disc shape right here on this side. So again, it's just going to be a matter of taking a little bit of UV resin here. Let's get a tiny little bit there because we don't need much. Because I'm actually going to go from this little puddle that I just put right there, and I'm going to put some so again, just this little dot right there, and it might not be showing up very well, but it's okay. I'm going to go ahead and use these to prop the one end of this up a little bit. And what I'm looking to do is to get this to go smack dab in the middle. If I can get this to hold still. Alright. Just thinking back, I probably said super glue or something like that, but this is UV resin. Apologies for any confusion. Go ahead and let that cure on there. Let's see if that comes up. There it goes. And get that centered. But now I've got that little disc shape on both the port and starboard side of this little post coming out of the side of the forward funnel. Okay, so a lot of this, a lot of the rest of the work going into this mast right here is going to be prepping it ahead of time. Just go out there and say right off the bat that rigging is not my absolute favorite thing to do. Especially with easy line, but just really haven't found anything else in the within scale. So what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to get this ready so there's about 2 equal lengths of each, and as you can see, it is not being super cooperative. So then we've got another one that's going to be similar to this. It's going to go above this mast, I believe. Yes. Or I'm sorry, above this... I can't remember what it's called now. Oops. I need to stop doing that before I break stuff. But it's going to go above this piece right here, and it's going to go farther forward. So it's going to be, I want it to be about the same length as this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back here, get it out of the way. As you can see, it's doing its best to go everywhere except where I want it. Really touchy and very delicate. So I've, for the most part, gotten all of the pre-work done on the mast. So next up, we're going to go to the forward deck house and bridge and start getting some of the lines tied off from the flag bags that'll come up to this right here. So be right back when I get that all set up. Okay, so for our next bit of rigging, what I'm going to do here is there should be 6 lines going from these flag bags up to the cross piece on the mast. And again, I'm sure someone can let me know in the comments what that is, or I'll find the name and flash it up on the screen. But that's 3 per side, total of 6. I went ahead and got 6 pieces cut off. This is not going to be the most enjoyable thing to do, but it's not terribly hard. Just kind of getting, again, this tied off in overhand or half hitch, again, whatever name you want to use for your knot. Now they're about. And I'm going to try to keep these lines equidistant from one another on the rail. But as you can see, as you start moving this stuff about, the knots themselves kind of want to come undone. Oh, and there I am bumping the camera again. Alright, as you can see, we've got the signal flag lines on, connected to the flag bags. I'm going to go ahead and move these forward. So there's a little bit more prep I want to do on this part. Alright, and that has to do with some much longer rigging lines that go back and they connect to both of the funnels. Let me show you the picture here. As you can see, they start there at the this forward deck house, kind of bump into the forward funnel, go back to the rear funnel, and then go up to the forward mast there, and then kind of back down here. So I got a couple lines pretty long, and I'm going to go ahead and get this part prepped here by attaching those lines to the railing right there. I'm going to tie them onto the railings right next to the flag bags. And when I put these railings on, I used thin CA glue and wicked it up right next to those flag bags, so that it should be a pretty sturdy connection. Now it's just like anything with working with this easy line, it is so much easier said than done. Alright, come on. What I'm really looking for here is it getting close enough without leaving too long of a tail. Because again, I don't want to be overly wasteful. Alright, so I got that on right there at the corner. I'm going to lift this up to show you. You can kind of see where it is right there on the railing, this big long one right here. And this is in general how I like to approach my rigging, is getting everything in place rigging wise that I can prior to attaching parts, if I can get away with it, that is. Alright, so now in place, I'll turn it to the side. Alright, well, any kind of footage I had for connecting any of these rigging lines here was, let's say, less than interesting and optimal. So through the beauty and magic of video editing, we got to this right here. I'm trying to make sure I don't break anything there with my hand, but went ahead and got all those lines attached. Look at it here from the side as well. Not sure how well that shows up for you, but I did take some pictures, and I will pop those up here either after this or maybe later on in this video or at the end. I don't know, we'll see. At any rate, I got most of the lines for the mast and this forward deck structure, or deck house, bridge, what have you. Also went ahead and got the Mark 37 installed. So these three pieces here are in place and ready to go. Guns up here, they won't interfere anything, so we'll get to those later. But the next piece that I have to install, let's go ahead and have a look here at the instructions for the USS Fletcher. Alright, and we can see here that there is a kind of a Y-shaped line that's going from the yard arm down to around the base of the forward funnel. I've already gone ahead and kind of scoot this over here a little bit. I'm going to get this Fletcher out of the way. And I've gone ahead and got a Y shape prepared here. This right here will be the leg that's going down to the base of the forward funnel. And this right here will go somewhere in right around here. Just drill a tiny little hole right in there, slip it through, and kind of play with it until we get it tight enough, and then I will put a little bit of CA right there to hold it in place. And then each of these pieces right here will go up to either end of the yard arm. And that will complete the Y-shaped piece of rigging. And then there's one more that comes from the actual mast itself, right around where the yard arm attaches, and that goes all the way back to right around the rear funnel area. But we're going to concentrate on this part first here. So go ahead and get set up here to get a little hole drilled and start working on getting this in place. Now this is a 0.4 millimeter drill. And it is definitely large enough for the easy line to fit through. So now what I need to do is kind of get this into place on the rest of Fletcher. But before I do so, I'll go ahead and get some little balls of white tack attached to these. They're not too heavy, but it will allow, it is enough weight to put a little tension on the lines after I drape them over the yard arm. So there we go. And now I get to move everything around and everything in place so that I can get this set down. So let me go ahead and do so. Be right back. All right, well, you can see here through that post what happened. Go ahead and briefly explain how I went ahead and got that fixed. And try to focus here on how it looks now. Not my absolute favorite look anymore. It doesn't look as clean as what I was aiming for before, but it'll do the part. At any rate, what I had to do is this particular piece here, I had to cut all of the easy line off, and then I cut off all of the easy line coming off of the flag bags down here. And after I got all that cleaned off, I used my vise, my orbital vise, along with the tweezers here to kind of hold that in place, and used a little bit of extra thin cement to kind of get it started and tack welded in place. And then I used some of the Flexi 5K CA glue by VMS and was able to strengthen that with a little piece of steel guitar string, and then I added more. Now I don't know if this is going to show up really well on camera, but as you can see, there's quite a lot of black on there. I guess from a couple feet away it's not super apparent. The 2 3 foot Testa, not going to be a big deal, but I know it's there and I was not happy with it. So after taking several days to get this repaired, we can go ahead and move on. Go ahead and wind up some of this easy line here so we can get it out of the way for the time being. So just to go ahead and revisit a bit of where we're at in the process right now. The forward deck house and bridge glued down, the Mark 37 glued down, the mast in place and glued in. This forward funnel is ready to go and glued in as well. So in order to continue the rigging, there's another piece that comes off of the mast right about there, and it's going to come down here according to Ravel's instructions to a spot in the deck right around there from what I can make out. So I'm going to go ahead and get that drilled out. Going to put a little piece of easy line in there and get it glued into place with a little bit of CA. And before I run it up to there, I'm going to put this forward torpedo, the quintuple torpedo mount. I'm going to put that into place. Also, while we're here, and this is just mainly so it's satisfying my need to get more on this besides a bunch of easy line. We're going to work on putting some of these 5-inch guns into place. So I've got this guy here, and I've got another one right here. So again, it's just kind of just a little self-satisfying to do. So there we go. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of the Tamiya white cap. Oh, see, there I go, trying to break stuff again. I'm just going to line the inside of this right here where it fits down. What this will do is, besides cementing it in place, it will also aid in kind of lubricating the part in its ability to go down over top of where it's supposed to. And once I've got that in place and lined up, and if my voice sounds a little bit louder, it's because I'm standing up above this. So I can look down and see to make sure that that barrel is going straight. Go ahead and tip this up to the side now. And let's zoom in here a little bit. There we go. That looks pretty good. And go ahead and get it into place. Alright. And looks like pretty much right off the bat we just got that about perfectly lined up. So let's go ahead and have a look. Okay, so went ahead and got that piece of rigging installed, and it is going to be a little bit difficult to see because this easy line is so thin. So my paper back there, but as you can see, it goes from that hole that we drilled in the deck. It just barely grazes the back end of that quintuple torpedo mount, and then it ends right up here at the top of this mast. Again, just trying to make sure that we don't put too much tension on it, so there's barely any tension. Alright, so our next step here is going to be attaching this aft funnel and torpedo mount. I've been working really hard and trying to make sure I get a placement of parts in a logical order so that these structures aren't interfering with one another. And it also affords me the ability to put my finger down on the ship in a place so I can kind of stabilize my hand. Exciting stuff, exciting stuff. Actually, to see all of this start to come together. Again, we'll wet the inside of this funnel here. Put the cement out of the way. It is now in place. So after the cement on that sets up a little bit, we're going to go ahead and get to work on attaching the rest of the rigging that will involve the two funnels and lastly the mast. Alright, well, I've got the pieces of easy line tied off into like a Y shape. What they like to point out here with easy line, and this happens all the time, is CA will kind of make it craze. So what you can do is pull it tight. If you pull it tight enough, that funny little kink will disappear in it. What we're going to go ahead and do now is take this, the base of the letter Y, if you will, and we're going to feed it into that little hole that we drilled here. And now that that's on there, we can go ahead and do is get ready to put this part on. Before I do that, however, I want to put another 5-inch gun on there. So let me go ahead and grab one. And I want to note that, as explained earlier, there are two different types of the 5-inch guns here. There's the 5-inch gun that has the armor plating on the roof or the top of it, and then there is the 5-inch gun without. The 5-inch guns with the armor plating are the ones that should go on the main deck here and here. Alright, so now we've got that 5-inch gun in place. Just make sure that it is lined up. Alright, so that rear deck house is in place. And it looks like it's seated down perfectly all around. And that's a good, very tight fit. Alright, so at this point we can take the other ends of our Y, if we can get all this. There we go. And each end of this Y will drape over top of this. And this. And we can pull off the Tamiya tape, just making sure that we do not pull the easy line out when we remove the tape. Alright, so after everything kind of sets up a little bit here, one thing I do want to point out is I'm going to go ahead and tie these off camera because it's just a little bit easier, but what we're going to be left with here is, oops, that fell off. So that's going to come up there, and there's going to be, again, that lovely Y shape. Okay, so go ahead and have a look here at the rigging with my hand as the backdrop. I'm trying not to break anything off. Alrighty. Focus on this is a little bit difficult here, just because those lines are so thin. Just trying to get it all in. You can see it's definitely, there we go. Rigging's done. Also, I'd like to draw your attention to the railings here. Went ahead and got the railings installed. We've seen plenty of railings go on different pieces here throughout this build. One thing that's important to note about the railings on this, as you can see, there are sections cut out that are around the fair leads. The railings themselves were not specifically made for the Fletcher or for any particular ships of this class. They were just kind of very generic. So had to cut those out. I'm sure it's not 100% real life as how they would be on the ship, but it is what it is, and we went with it. Also, we've got the jack there that's flying. Come on. Focus, focus, focus. And what that symbolizes is that the ship is at anchor right there. So I will have an anchor hanging down from there. And that'll be the last step. So more railings, again, just with sections cut out to work around the fairleads. And then we also have the Star Spangled Banner right behind that. I flat coated it, and that also symbolizes being at the very aft end of the ship, that the ship is in port. So that is how I wanted it to look. Here's the other side. And later on, I'll be getting some actual pictures, a little bit higher resolution. But for the most part, the ship is complete. Just have to go ahead and install the anchor. So go ahead and get that knocked out, and then we'll close this up. Well, closing thoughts for me on this ship is that overall it was a good kit. There is some potential for making it a better kit. Certainly not something for beginners, but overall still good and enjoyable. I enjoyed most of the process of getting this put together and realizing the finished model of USS Fletcher. But again, when I said there was some potential, things like the ship's boat's davits, not having any of the tackle or anything like that to actually hold one of the ship's boats properly. Some other things there, like the anchors were a little bit out of scale. The rear, what do we call it, flagpole or staff to hold the American flag when the ship's in port, that was missing out of there. Any kind of allowances for rigging or plans for rigging, the actual wrong radar at the top of the mast. Some of these things right there just kind of missed the mark for more of an overall correct or authentic appearance with Fletcher, with how she would have been painted in this camouflage scheme. But again, overall, good kit. Done well, everything matched up and fit together the way it's supposed to. The railings themselves could have been a little bit more specific to the actual ship model versus just providing a sheet of generic railing. It's something I'm going to have to overcome as well with USS Stevens, along with some of the other shortcomings, again, like the ship's boats, davits, rigging, stuff like that. But for the most part, as I go over the Stevens, I don't think I'm going to make an entire video series about it, but we will definitely be putting up videos about Stevens as I move along with that destroyer kit, showing off some of the differences in it, between it and Fletcher, as far as how it had a catapult to launch a seaplane. And also I've got some other aftermarket stuff from the Midwest model shop that we'll be putting on display on that ship, like the 5-inch guns and some other little knickknacks here and there. So hopefully you will stay tuned and stick around here to see some of those videos come up. I've got a lot more projects coming up, and can't wait to get those out and show those to you. So until next time, stay safe and happy modeling.